Good afternoon and welcome to the State News on Osbc. My name is Tajuddin Amodu. Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke has distributed mobility aids to no fewer than 240 selected persons with disabilities in Osun State. This is in continuation of the celebration of his 100 days in office. Governor's Office correspondent Ibrahim Adekulekun completes the story.
Osun State Governor Senator Ademola Adeleke, who identified with persons with disabilities, did not hide his joy when he danced to cultural performances by different groups. The governor, while thanking the people for massively voting for the People's Democratic Party, also sympathized with the families of those who lost their lives to political violence, saying election is not a war. According to him, no growth can be complete if a section of the society is neglected and abandoned, reiterating the resolve of his administration to supporting people with disabilities and promised that the state government will comply with local and international best practices. The governor therefore directed the Ministry of Justice to review and bring the Osun State Disability Bill up to date.
Permit me to first of all thank Osun people for the successful conduct of the last polls. I really appreciate you. Ẹ ṣé gan ni ẹ kú ìtọ́jú. When we celebrate the success of the poll, we equally sympathize with the victims of political violence across the state. We are saddened by deliberate acts of thuggery in some part of the state. I will repeat here that election is not a war, but choice making. I call on all Osun people to get back to work and focus on the urgent task of building a better Osun state. Now is the time to support the government effort to address our developmental challenges. We need all hands on deck to improve the growth of various sectors of the society.
Earlier in our welcome address, the Coordinating Director, Ministry of Youth, Sports and Special Needs, Mrs. Taiwo Oladunjoye, commended Governor Adeleke for distributing mobility aids to about 240 persons with disabilities.
I wish to commend our compassionate governor for taking interest in the general well-being of a person with disability by graciously approving and giving necessary support for the actualization of this program, despite the paucity of funds in the state.
In their goodwill messages, Mr. Stephen Idowu, President of the Joint National Association of Persons with Disability, JONAPID, Dr. Olayinka Odelinde, Mr. Kehinde Onitiju, among others, thanked the governor for his love for the disability community, demonstrated through the life impacting programs under the Community Development Association, CDA, and the distribution of mobility aids, and as well requested for reinstatement of 61 disengaged people with disability teachers, among other requests. High points of the event were cultural display by deaf group and distribution of the mobility aids to persons with disabilities across the 5 cluster groups of physically challenged, visually impaired, hearing impaired, people with albinism, and people with spinal cord injuries. Items distributed include wheelchairs, elbow and armpit crutches, guiding canes for the visually impaired, lady midget for the hearing impaired, medical aid materials for persons with spinal cord injuries, thick umbrellas, skin cream and magnifying glasses for those with albinism, among others. It has been Abdurrahim Adekulekun reporting.
Meanwhile, the General Manager of Osun State Emergency Management Agency, SEMA, Mr. Amos Adejinle, has reiterated the commitment of the agency towards ensuring quick emergency response to victims of disaster in the state. Mr. Adejinle, who made this known while presenting some temporary relief materials to the family of Reverend Taye Adun Barin, whose residential building was razed by fire at Fateduria of Osun State, noted that Governor Ademola Adeleke is a listening governor who always has the interest of the people at heart. Our reporter, Oluchi Amuda, has more on the story.
The family of Reverend Taye and Eunice Adumbani, whose residential 5-bedroom bungalow located at number 8 Osho-Sonya Street, Nubatosh area of Fatedo, Osun State, got destroyed by fire, now has reasons to smile again as the Osun State government has reached out to them with some temporary relief materials. The Osun State government, through the Osun Emergency Management Agency, OSEMA, under the chairmanship of Mr. Amos Adejinle, paid a visit to the Adubari family to sympathize with them over the fire disaster that destroyed their 5-bedroom bungalow and rendered them homeless. The OSEMA boss, who presented some food items to the family to temporarily cushion the harrowing effect of the disaster, assured them of accelerated government intervention towards ameliorating their pains, just as he maintained that the state governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, is a listening leader who has the interest of the people at heart. Receiving the items on behalf of the family, Mrs. Eunice Adumbari, who was full of appreciation to the agency for the quick response, stated that the gesture has restored her hope and belief that good governance is truly achievable in Nigeria. She commended Governor Ademola Adeleke for walking the talk in his promise of prioritizing the welfare of the people. It will be recalled that on Friday, the 10th of this month, the residential building of the Adumbaris was razed by fire suspected to have been caused by an electrical surge. Pastor Taye Adumbari and his wife had appealed to Governor Ademola Adeleke to come to their rescue as everything they worked for all their lives went up in flames.
Things are a bit tight this time around, so we can't afford it this time around. So we want to appeal to the government to please come to our aid.
Presently, we are homeless. We have to scout around to be able to sleep overnight. In the morning, we have to get up and go somewhere again.
Few hours after the report, the government, through OSEMA, responded to their appeal and reached out to the victims. Oluchi Amuda, Osbc News.
The holy month of Ramadan enables Muslims Ummah to deepen their faith in Almighty Allah and move closer to Allah. Now that this year's Ramadan is less than 24 hours, almost here, Osbc news crew went some markets in Osogbo metropolis on Ramadan market survey to see the preparation of people towards the holy month. Oluwatobiloba Odunega has more on the story.
Ramadan fast has been prescribed by Allah for all Muslims, so as to strengthen their belief and develop their spiritual life. This much assertion and sacrifice of sensual desires has been made obligatory upon every Muslim, that he neither eats nor drinks anything, nor seeks sexual satisfaction from dawn to dusk during the whole of the blessed month, in compliance with the commandment of Allah, and in the process to avoid all sinful acts. Speaking with Osbc News, a Muslim cleric, Yahya Oloyede, said the month of Ramadan is a holy month where one solely focuses on worshipping Allah and refrains from involvement in worldly affairs, noting that it is a time to reflect, increase worship, and to increase one's religious knowledge, seeking closeness to Almighty Allah.
The benefit that Ramadan gives us is to believe in taqwa. Yani taqwa means belief in Allah.
Meanwhile, oftentimes Muslim Ummah always stock up foodstuff and other essentials in their homes to make the period of Ramadan a blissful experience. To this end, Osbc News went around some markets in Osogbo metropolis, including Igbono, Shasha, MDS, Oluode, and Otaifu markets, among others, for Muslim faithful preparation towards the holy month. Traders who spoke with Osbc News in some markets, including Mrs. Abimbola Fafiyebi and Mrs. Rashidat Kozim, among others, complained that the scarcity of cash had slowed down their businesses, saying non-availability of cash have continued to pose a huge challenge to their businesses. They lamented that the cash crunch crisis is not making it all to look like Ramadan is almost here.
The transfer will not enter. At times they will reverse it. We'll call them, they will not pick the call. Some people will bring it back, some people they will not bring it, and there is no market.
They called on the federal government to make the Naira notes accessible for all, saying this will increase their sales in every way. Oluwa Tobiloba Odunuga, Osbc News.
And with that, we have come to the end of State News on Osbc this afternoon. Join us at 5 for the evening news. Good afternoon.